Welcome to Repertoire Wednesday with my dad, Dr. Joe Tranquilla.
Thanks, Everett. Today we're going to take a look at I Cannot Dance by Larry Nickel. And I'm joined by my good friend, Anna Marie Ryan, to discuss the music. Anna Marie is a wonderful singer and conductor. She's a member of the Inspiro Choral Collective, and she's a soprano with the Canadian Chamber Choir. Welcome, Anna Marie.
Thank you. I'm excited to have the chance to dive into this piece.
So this is a piece that you sang when you were in the TWU Chamber Choir. Can you tell me a little bit about why this piece of music, through its lyrics and poetry, sort of speak to you in particular?
So I think, one of the things I've been really reflecting on lately personally is this idea of partnership and leadership, and also just like what it means to engage in something like a dance. One of the things that's been really made evident by this whole pandemic is how art is not meant to be created in isolation. I mean, we can obviously, in the depths of this sort of frustration that we might experience, come up with something really powerful. But ultimately, what we as artists and musicians are really missing and longing for is community. And there's so much of, we just need to work with each other to be able to support each other in order to really thrive and grow.
The beginning, which is marked lacrimoso, which is sort of an inauspicious beginning, and then when the rubato section comes at letter A, it is this sense of just barely being able to articulate what is fully formed, but you're almost just unable to say it aloud, and it's these little snippets of that opening phrase, I cannot dance, oh Lord. It really borrows from this earlier style, and the Swingles, of course, were famous for taking the music of Bach and setting it in a very jazz-inflected way. The sort of looking back obviously is connected to the text as well.
So Mathilde, she was a 13th century mystic, and she was most famous for her visions. So she started having visions, according to sources, from age of 12. And so she wrote a book that describes her conversations with God and her visions, and it was called The Flowing Light of Divinity.
The sort of quality that is very devotional, obviously, but that is somehow really so easily embodied. Like, it does connect the spirit and the self and the body, and it embraces that in a way that is very affirming and very that is very joyful. What were some of the challenges in this piece of music that really maybe you might remember we had to spend a lot of time on?
Yes, I remember that we lived with this piece for quite a while as a choir. So we started working on it, preparing for the Canadian Chamber Choir to come in February, and then we performed with them in 2017. But we also performed it in Hong Kong, and so that was a year later. So there's a lot of time to live with the piece. One of the biggest challenges, I think, just that stuck out to me, definitely the rhythms, and getting into the style of the piece. And also at times the vocal lines are very independent, and at times we all have to be exactly in sync with all of these syncopations. And so trying to find that balance where it's like, okay, when is one section leading or not? And when are we all supposed to be exactly in sync, but also in this state of like flow that comes with that dance style? Was pretty challenging. I think, in general, especially with different mixed meters and trying to understand, where are the strong beats, where are you just kind of letting the notes go by, and how to get everybody on the same page with that sort of interpretation, to feel that music, especially if you've never had any experience with flamenco dancing or with those sort of idioms. Like, it's one thing to say, okay, like, look at all of these notes and rhythms on the page. It's another to be able to feel how that's supposed to feel, and really allow that to become embodied, I think.
What would be a favorite moment of yours in this piece?
The letter F, do te me satare. Like, when we got that, it was so cool.
The favorite moment for me, I mean, I really love the ending, because I do think that it really is this wonderful culmination. And for for the conductor, that wall of sound is something that I truly miss from, I love those intimate moments as well, and I love not just the loud moments, but the ending here is pretty exciting. This piece is published by Cypress Choral Music. For details on how to order this music and to check out more great repertoire, be sure to visit cypresschoral.com. The Canadian Chamber Choir series for accomplished choirs is one of several great collections curated by outstanding Canadian choral conductors. A huge thanks to Anna Marie Ryan for joining us today. See you next Wednesday for more great Canadian repertoire.
Thanks for listening.